Hi, everybody, and welcome to Unified, a podcast feed from First Church Belmont Unitarian Universalist. We'll be sharing sermons and stories, especially thematic content made new every week. We're so glad you're here, and for more information about who we are and opportunities to grow and deepen, swing by the church on Sundays or check out our website at uubelmont.org. And for now, enjoy this new content.
Good morning. In our story for all ages today, we learn what happens to a mushroom in the rain. It grows. It can provide shelter to our small little creatures from the rain and from danger. Because it grows, the fox is turned away. Danger is averted. What happens to you when you accept an invitation to join a community? The community grows and grows, embracing your unique gifts and ideas. And what happens to a community in the rain? By rain, I mean political unrest, pandemic, climate change, foxes. Well, it grows. The community plans and holds events, forms more committees, does more brainstorming, takes on social action, uses more outside resources, more inside resources, until it becomes a swirling bowl of activity, support, love, and togetherness. And it never stops growing as we add more members and interests. First Church is such a place. First Church is such a community. After the pandemic and retirement and other great losses, our very wise minister, Chris Jablonski, invited me to deepen my community ties by joining the worship committee. I accepted this honor, and I enjoy sharing readings and ideas with all of you. The following spring, I said yes to joining the Committee on Ministry to view the finer mechanisms of such a productive community. Almost 2 years ago, I was floundering a bit internally, retreating into my introvert self, choosing time alone all too often. When we had our New Year's magic papers, where we burn up a recent regret, and we keep a new promise, I wrote down isolation on the tissue paper, and I burnt it up. On the thicker piece of paper, I wrote, "Say yes." And I kept this paper in my purse for a year. I vowed to say yes to invitations that came my way, with a few exceptions for illness or exhaustion. I said yes to church invites, family invites, social invites, and guess what? I grew in experiences, in ideas, joys, and awareness, and I grew in my capacity to give back to others. When you say yes to First Church does not disappoint. First Church has something for everyone: opportunities for working on social action together, opportunities for faith development for all ages, opportunities to explore ourselves through Sunday sermons and small group ministries, opportunities to listen to and participate in music and share stories, and even opportunities for travel together. Opportunities for small and great acts of kindness in a broken world such as ours. I invite you all to say yes to invitations at First Church in Belmont as members and as full participants in its many offerings. Thank you.
Years ago, I helped chaperone a high school trip to Italy with a beloved colleague. Each time the group embarked on a new location or headed out to a new lodging, this beloved colleague, having happily led this trip many, many times, would address the teenagers by saying, "So, I have a question and I have a reminder. What is the key to this being a great day?" In response, an entire busload of students would, in unison, enthusiastically yell, "Low expectations." This morning, I offer a reflection on how expectations can live alongside invitations. In a classroom setting, one could say that an educator perhaps invites their students to engage, to learn, to experience. However, in the context of a classroom, this kind of invitation is put out there with an expectation of compliance. The power dynamic is present no matter how hard one tries to conceal it, to sneak it in, to sand down the edges of its weight, or to subvert it. That said, this year I have fortunately experienced a classroom context in which an invitation is offered with expectation at its side. However, the expectation has less weight, almost as if it were floating around us as opposed to meeting us eye to eye or sitting in our laps. Some of you here at First Church may have participated in what our community calls a listening circle, or at a meeting, a check-in, where participants are encouraged to speak their mind and listen. Please, circle members, no questions, no comments, no interpersonal exchange, please. No rebuttal. We're going to listen. Educators today in 2024 are being encouraged to conduct with students something very similar. It's called, in my building, a community circle, or in some cases, a restorative circle. All participants sit in chairs, set up in a circle. There are no desks, there are no backpacks, there's no technology, there are no barriers. Prompts that are not related to academics or any academic content are given, and a talking piece is passed from one individual to another around this circle to mark each speaker's turn. These prompts may range from something like, "Please describe your ideal meal. Drink, appetizer, main dish, and dessert." To more weighty prompts like, "How do you know when a friendship is healthy for you or not?" The part that I cherish about this invitation of sorts is that addressing the prompt is not required. Engagement is not mandatory. Nothing is graded. Any person may receive the talking piece and pass it along without uttering a single word. This creates a space of engagement with choice, an invitation almost liberated by the expectation that not everyone will comply, participate, or even feel moved by this amazing prompt that you've created. Classroom circles have made okay for me the dualism that in the venue of school can be troublemaking for leaders and adults. And that is, compliance or response to your invitation is really not to be expected.
It was written that above the temple of Apollo in the ancient Greek precinct of Delphi is the maxim, know yourself, know thyself. There are various interpretations of the meaning of this maxim, but one of them is an invitation to encounter ourselves, to look deeply into ourselves. John O'Donohue writes, to live a truly creative life, we always need to cast a critical look at where we presently are, attempting always to discern where we have become stagnant and where a new beginning might be ripening. For O'Donohue, a beginning is ultimately an invitation. He writes, to accept the invitation to consider yourself as a complete stranger, someone who has just stepped ashore in your life, is a liberating exercise. It breaks the numbing stranglehold of stagnation and familiarity. Gradually, you begin to sense the mystery and magic of yourself. You realize that you are a temporary guest gifted with blessings and possibilities. For me, the opportunity to walk on the Camino de Santiago de Compostela last May with fellow Unitarians gave me the space and solitude to encounter my neglected inner stranger and to invite her into dialogue. Each day I posted a different question to myself and sought to respond with the most hard-edged honesty I could muster. What is my longing? Where have my barriers to it been? What are those barriers now? Where have I come up short? And for me, the most difficult question to face, what are my deepest fears? As Joseph Campbell wrote, where you stumble, there your treasure lies. Where it seems most challenging lies the greatest invitation to find deeper and greater power in ourselves. I'll end with this poem, All That You Need Lies Within You, by Reverend Angela Herrera. Consider this an invitation to you, yes, you, with all your happiness and your burdens, your hopes and regrets. An invitation if you feel good today, and an invitation if you do not, if you are aching, and there are so many ways to ache. Maybe your heart is heavy or hardened. Maybe it's troubled, and peace can take up residence only in a small corner, only on the edge with all that is going on in the world and in your life. Ni modo, it doesn't matter. All that you need for a deep and comforting peace to grow lies within you. Once it is in your heart, Let it spread into your life. Let it pour from your life into the world. And once it is in the world, let it shine upon all beings.
From David White's little book, Consolations, a section on despair. Despair takes us in where we have nowhere else to go, when we feel our heart cannot break anymore, when our body is carrying profound pain in a way that does not seem to go away. Despair is a necessary and seasonal state of repair, a temporary healing absence, an internal physiological and psychological winter. We take the first steps out of despair by taking on its full weight and coming to ground in our wish not to be here. Refusing to despair about despair itself, we can let despair have its own natural life and take a first step into the foundational ground of human compassion. The ability to see, understand, and touch, and even speak the heartfelt grief of another. For my own part, when times and emotions are most bleak, when the world seems almost too much to bear, when I feel rejected and like nothing can go right, when my very roots feel weakened or disrupted, to see deep inside myself, I feel most challenged to see deep inside myself, reveal what hurts or pains the most, recognize it and absorb it fully. To see and how it pains many others similarly, or even much more than me. To reach inside, touch my own insights, tools, and experience, my gifts that most directly address the pain and hurts, and to mobilize these for my community, especially those in most need. Indeed, this is when I need to offer my most precious and relevant resources, hopes, and dreams to my communities. Where does my energy and talent matter the most? And how can I merge my offerings with others? Where and how do my gifts align with activity where I feel the most abandoned, hopeless, or hurt? Where can I make the greatest difference to myself and others? In the end, where can I improve the world of my grandchildren, theirs? Just a couple sections from a reading poem by Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise. Out of the hurts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling. I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, rise, I rise. Just a final couple of lines from a poem by Marge Piercy. The people I love the best jump into work head first without dallying in the shallows. They swim off with shore strokes almost out of sight. They seem to become natives of the element, the black, sleek heads of seals bouncing like half-submerged balls. The work of the world is common as mud. Botched, it smears the hands, crumbles to dust. But the thing worth doing well has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident. The pitcher cries for water to carry, and a person for work that is real.